Hey guys, Greg Spiro here, aka Weekly Piano, aka all the terrible things that some people call me. Anyway, I have been asked by many people to show you how I do this live stream setup for Mornings with Greg, which I do every morning. There are a few people who I'm going to have collaborating with me, and this is particularly for you guys. However, I'm going to put it out to the world because I think it'll help. And lots of artists, if you can get this set up together, which is very complicated, it will be to your benefit during this period of COVID-19, which we don't know how long it's gonna last. Anyway, so I'm gonna get started here. This is gonna take a minute, and you don't need to feel like you need to get all aspects of this, but there are a few essential aspects, which I'll tell you what those are. So let's just go through, I'm gonna kind of show you my setup here. It involves a MIDI controller, which I have here, and then I've got my mixing set up so that I can actually hear what the mix sounds like, and then a good microphone, some lights, it's light, some cameras, camera, and other camera. Yeah. So the first thing that I want to show you is the centerpiece to all of this, which is OBS Studio. By the way, I am sorry that I'm not making this into a real production where you can see the screen clearly. I just don't have time to do that. So I'm going to do my best with this. So this is OBS Studio. I'm going to give you a basic overview. You have your scenes down here, and you have your objects over here for each scene, okay? And this is my morning screen. That was graphic designed by my graphic designer, Spencer Porter. There is a chat over here, which is live from Streamlabs, which is a thing I'll show you that I have set up in just a little bit. In fact, I'm gonna write these things down to make sure that I remember to tell. Actually, I don't need to remember to tell them to you. I will remember. Okay, then you have down here, start streaming, start recording. This is gonna be a little bit ad hoc. So this is your audio over here. So an audio unit is also an object, and I'll show you how to connect those to the applications. So this is OBS Studio. There are tutorials just on this. I would recommend going to somebody else's tutorial on this to get it right, because it's deep. Anyway, so the way that I have audio running through, we're gonna deal with audio and we're gonna deal with video, okay? So audio is running through this Apollo interface, and then so this microphone goes to the Apollo interface. That's the only thing that's actually going through, except for audio that is also going through the computer through Ableton. So Ableton is my DAW, and then I'm gonna this is overview also. So I use Restream Chat. Actually, I don't use that anymore. Screw Restream Chat. Restream is annoying as fuck. They are more glitchy than Streamlabs, and Streamlabs is really glitchy. Anyway, I have my live stream set up here in Ableton, and you can do this through Pro Tools also, but I'm gonna show you how I have it set up through Ableton. And then there's a thing called Loopback, which is right there, Loopback 2, which is expensive, but for me it was worthwhile. I think there are alternatives, but I haven't gone through the trouble of figuring out the alternatives because it's all so glitchy, and Loopback 2 works really well. Now, while that's opening up, I'm gonna tell you about Loopback. Okay, so this is the Loopback section of this tutorial. I have what Loopback lets you do is create these virtual audio units. So for example, I have my virtual audio unit called 2OBS, okay? That's taking out of channels 19 and 20 from my universal audio driver here, and sending it to channels 1 and 2 of this virtual thing called 2OBS. Now, if you go into OBS, I have the, if you go to the opening screen, which I have here, so see that's me and all this, see my hand there, it's all nicely synced up. It actually makes it super easy to do videos that you just send and put online too, in addition to the live streaming. But anyway, so okay, this is the opening screen. Now up here, we have our audio thing, which is the audio Ableton. Okay, so that's Ableton. And see down there, when I'm talking, you see that bar going up. That's coming from Ableton. And the reason that's coming from Ableton is because when I double click on that, it's on the 2 OBS setting, right? That's 2 OBS. So, by the way, if anybody wants to break this down into a more like itemized tutorial, I'll put it up on my page if you create it for people, because this is complicated. So yeah, 2 OBS is there. This is the 2 OBS unit in Loopback. And then I have this in Ableton. So these are all my channels in Ableton, and I've created these return channels. Okay, so this is the 2 OBS return channel, which includes a few things. It includes a virtual instrument, which is my piano. So if you show piano here, okay, see that's piano, and down here, that's my Contact 5. I'm using Alicia's keys, and it's got my compression, delay, all the different delays. This is, see, playing the piano there, goes to the virtual instrument there, the piano, and then sends out through the 2 OBS send, right? The master is all the way down so that it doesn't come through my speakers, otherwise I'd get feedback through my mic. But that sends through the 2 OBS send, which is that, to channels 1 and 2 of this little, see that then I have an audio unit there. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to put my phone on airplane mode because somebody just called me and made me stop this, and now I'm gonna have to actually do video editing to make this all one file. That's annoying as fuck. Anyway, all right, so to make that Ableton unit there, you click the plus sign, audio input capture, and then create new audio input capture. Let's just say T for test. And now here, up here, you select your 2 OBS thing, right? Now you'll notice on here there's also 2 OBS intro, outro, and room, piano and computer, okay? So that's what I did for the intro screen. Right here, there's a different unit there, the just piano, it's called down there, but it's over here, it's just piano. If you click on it, it's OBS intro, outro, and room. And that is this one, OBS intro, outro, room, which grabs from different virtual channels. And you can see here, it's grabbing from those down there, and it's not picking up my mic because in Ableton, check this out. In Ableton, I have my microphone. So where's my microphone? All the way down here. I have my microphone going out the first send and the last send, which down here is the A to OBS and D to guest, because I want the guest to be able to hear that, which that'll come into Zoom later. I'll show you how to set that up. So, but it doesn't go to the just piano and the OBS intro, outro channels, okay? And that's very important because I don't want people to hear me on my intro screen. But I do want them to hear me when I want them to hear me through Zoom. Okay, so we've got that basically set up through OBS, your audio going out through Ableton to Loopback into OBS. Now the question here is, how do you do it with Zoom also, okay? So let me pull up Zoom. I'm trying to do this with one hand. I'm trying to be as thorough as possible, so I only have to do one of these. All right, new meeting. Okay, so there's me holding up my phone with my background. I'll also show you how to do this green screen. This is just like a tablecloth I have behind me. I'm using it as a green screen. You can obviously see it there. It doesn't look like the tablecloth that's behind me. Join with computer audio. Okay, so you click join with computer audio, but then in your settings, here, the audio settings down there, you can select a microphone, right? So you don't want it to be same as system, you want it to be your virtual one coming out of your DAW, which for me is called To FaceTime Guest, which that is the little virtual audio unit that I have here on To FaceTime Guest, which comes out of Ableton over here in the To Guest section there. So that will send out my piano and my microphone. See, it's doing that, it's seeing that, hearing that, but it will not send out the computer audio. And that is very important because otherwise it will feed back. If it were to send out the computer audio, it would feed back to the person who I'm Zooming with, and they would just hear an echo of themselves. Okay, so that goes to Zoom. So whoever's listening to me on Zoom, on the other side of it, the other person who I'm interviewing or whatever, they will hear me and the piano, but they won't hear themselves. Now, this is where it gets complicated. Okay, that's kind of funny, right? The output of the computer itself, I have in System Preferences, Audio, Sound, output is Computer to Ableton, and that's another virtual item here. Computer to Ableton, right? Up there, which is just taking the pass-through of a virtual device, which is this, and sending it to channels 5 and 6 of my Apollo 8P. Or no, this isn't the 8P, this is just the 8. And so then what that is doing is when I send out through channels 5 and 6, I'll play something. Like you can go to Spotify and play something if you want. Let's play Carolyn's record here. This is one I produced. Doesn't get better than this. Okay, so you can hear it now. And the reason you can hear it is because it's going out of okay. Actually, this is gonna be distracting. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Okay. So the reason you can hear it is it's going out of Computer to Ableton here. Out of that, which is going to channels 5 and 6, and outside of this, look at the back, channels 5 and 6, the outputs, the line outs, which is actually 3 and 4. It's not on it says 5 and 6 over there, but it's 3 and 4 on here. You'll have to test it on your own interface. These are going in to channels 5 and 6 here, the inputs. So it's actually patched. Excuse me. Okay. So now, in fact, let me pause this and put on something that is from something that's not registered online, because otherwise it might flag this video and start trying to monetize that. In fact, let's just do that here. We'll put on Spirit Fingers. This is a track coming out on May 8th. Okay. So I'll still turn this down here. So it was coming out of channels 5 and 6 here, which are actually 3 and 4 because channels 1 and 2 are the master, right? And then into 5 and 6 here. Okay, so that's the input that you see. And then when it comes back in, it registers in Ableton in the computer channel, in channels 5 and 6. Right there. Okay, so I can mute that, and now you can't hear it. It's literally just running through Ableton. And it's going to the first item here, which is to OBS, not the just piano section, but it is going to the OBS intro outro section over here. And that OBS intro outro, that's mapped to 1 and 2, which that's also a weird little, for some reason 1 and 2, I don't understand why, but 1 and 2 goes to 27 and 28 on the actual universal audio interface. It's a really weird phenomenon. So it's going out of 27 and 28, which is actually here, 1 and 2, which if I turn that off, see, then that stops. If I turn that on, then that's going. Okay, and then that's OBS intro, outro to room. And, oh, you know what? And also when you do that, it sends out through the speakers. So 1 and 2 sends to the speakers, which is why, so this is, actually I want to get into that. But you can see, so OBS intro, outro, then that's going into OBS. And on the just piano section here, it's OBS intro, outro, room. So now you can hear the computer here. And that's just because over here, it had this, so these items mapped to that third section. The computer is mapped to it and the piano is mapped to it, okay? I hope that makes sense. I know it's getting a little confusing. And I have to stop this music because it's so distracting. Okay. So now for Zoom, let's go back to Zoom, okay? So you have your microphone being select a microphone as to FaceTime guest, and that's this section here, to guest, and you can put whatever you want out to them. What I'm putting is just my microphone and the piano, but not the computer. And then on the output, select a speaker, you have computer to Ableton, and that also, so it feeds into this computer to Ableton section, these computer to Ableton channels, which goes here to the computer section there. Via this computer to Ableton here, the pass-through that goes into the outputs of channels 5 and 6, and then back into the channels 5 and 6 through the actual patching in the back of the interface to here, to 5 and 6, okay? It's very important that you have a separate input, a separate virtual section of virtual audio throughput here going into Ableton from Zoom and out to Zoom from Ableton, so that you can select it, what goes through your return channel here, okay? Let's see. Okay, let's talk about bringing in Zoom into this. So I have my guest section here, okay? Now this is the section where I'm over here on the side. I've got my own little, like I've created an object there by going new object into, what was it? Video capture device, and then you pick your video capture device. Created that to create that. However, here we actually do a window capture. So in addition to having Ableton send to an audio unit that goes to here, that then goes into OBS, you need to have a window capture. And so this window capture here, called screen share, is just this particular window that I use for Zoom. Now you have to be careful, because when you resize this window, which I won't do right now, it gets finicky and actually resizes it on OBS. I don't know why, I don't know how to prevent it. So just try to keep this in the same size. Right now I have it that size, and you can see some of the part of the guest names over there. It's still a little bit ad hoc. You can see over here, I added a text box, so you can see the people on the screen ever present. This was Bryce and Mike and Micaiah, the heads of some festivals and companies, and a great artist that I work with. So this is, that's how you bring the Zoom screen in. And then if you also have the computer audio now running into OBS, they will sync up, and you'll hear great solid computer audio that you can then add effects to in here if you want to. So you have EQ and some compression, 2 layers of compression, and I sometimes have some reverb if they're playing instruments. And you can send that directly through to OBS along with the video from their Zoom call. Okay, and then you click Start Streaming to stream, and to stream anywhere, you need to have your streaming service and your stream key. Okay, what I use is Restream.io to go to a bunch of services here, okay? And then down here, you have your stream key and and then your Restream URL, which you don't need. You just need to copy your Restream key here, paste it in the stream settings here, and then click OK. And then when you start streaming, it will stream to Restream.io. Now, here you set up your multiple channels so you can put it out to wherever. I'm sending it to Twitch, YouTube, a custom RTMP server that goes to Facebook and Periscope. Okay, this is where it's actually pretty easy to add a channel and set it up through your Facebook. I won't go through all the nuances of doing the custom RTMP. Well, I'll show you a little bit of the Facebook RTMP server. If I can, there we go, Facebook. Yeah, I might as well make this completely inclusive of all the nuances of what I'm doing so everybody can try to copy me, because I don't think a lot of you will be able to, because this is stupidly complicated. But I sincerely hope that the people in these foundations I'm working with to help with streaming are able to, and you can actually call me and I will help you one-on-one too. So okay, here's live server. What you want to do is make sure you have use a persistent stream key. Grab, oh, you can't see the stream key. I guess you can't see the whole thing there anyway, but it says your stream key down there and your server URL, and those are the things that you're supposed to put in your custom RTMP here. So you do add channel at the bottom, custom RTMP, and then add your RTMP server URL and stream key. So if you do that with this URL and stream key, then you'll be able to add your stuff over here and add your thumbnail and everything in your cross-posting pages, and then go live. And when you go live, you'll have to go live first first here, and make sure it's also live in Restream. Over here, make sure that's actually like that this blue thing is on, and then click and then your live video will appear over there, and then here you go to go live, because the go live will become blue once you have live video streaming to Facebook. Yeah, and then you can also send to YouTube and all these other channels through Restream. The chat functionality that I promised I would show you. So this is the chat over here as well. Oh man, so I need to change that. See if you, so when you have an image, this is a fun little hack. If you press shift, I can't press shift and drag, then okay, I just did that. See with the gray box over there, I pressed shift and drag that end in that direction, and it was able to move it. Now I can kind of like, oh, don't want to move that. I want to move the whole. It's very finicky, and you'll have to spend some time getting to know it, but it's worthwhile to get to know. So this is a Streamlabs chat, which if I click on that, you'll see it's a URL there that you have to grab from Streamlabs itself, and you have to sign up for Streamlabs. Over here, to import, I'm going to work backwards here. You click plus, go to browser, and then you create a new browser, and then you paste it there. That's where the Streamlabs chat URL goes, okay? And then you click OK. I'm going to click cancel. I'm going to delete this browser thing there so that it doesn't appear when I go live next. All right. So now for Streamlabs, you have to log in or sign up or whatever. And then go to the all widgets section and grab your chat box. In the chat box, this is the URL chat box. So you copy the address there, and then you can do all your settings over here. And you have to connect all of your accounts, which you can do. I connected my Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, and that will allow you to have all of your different accounts going to one place in terms of chat. It's very finicky. Again, none of these companies really have it worked out, but this is the best I've found so far for chat. And I spent like an hour today just trying to get the Facebook thing to work, but it ended up working eventually with their help, because I have their support, because I signed up for Restream Prime or whatever, which is barely worth it, but sort of worth it. Because, yeah. Then, let's see, what else? So, Facebook pages, make sure you're not on your main Facebook account. You just are on your fan page account, because it will not grab chat from your main Facebook account. It just can't do it yet. They haven't made it work. But with all that set up, and then with your chat item, your chat browser functionality in here, you can set that up and have that appearing so that when the chat appears over here. You can look at my past streams and see how it appears there. I'm not going to do that now. Okay. That's pretty thorough. Yeah, and my brain is fried even trying to explain all this to you, but I think I got through every bit of how this is set up. It's quite complicated. Please leave questions and ask me if you want me to do specific videos for any individual item, and I will if I have time. Maybe. And yeah, so I hope this has been helpful. Make sure, I didn't explain the lighting. Make sure you get your lighting right. These are just these little selfie things. So press that, and then you have your lighting, and it's different colors and stuff you can add. Oh, my green screen background. All I did was take a video, my video item here. And then actually this is important. This took me a while to figure out. If you control click and go to filters, and you add the chroma key, that will allow you to, the chroma key, you pick the color of your background. See, that's that blue, like this background, and then you have to mess with similarity, smoothness, and opacity. Well, opacity you don't have to mess with, but make sure it's a custom color there. Pick your color, and then make sure it's the same color as your background, and then if you get it right, the background will go away here, and you can add a nice cool background like I did over here, where if I go to my opening, see, it's a sunset or sunrise. Isn't that fun? So I do this show every morning with the sunrise behind me. Yeah, cool. I hope that this has been enlightening. Let me know if you have questions, and I hope that you are able to get your streaming setup working. And if you get it working and you want to come and do a collaboration on my show, please let me know that as well, because I am always looking to collaborate with other like-minded individuals who have figured this shit out. Yeah, so thank you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll see you on my Weekly Piano channel, youtube.com/weeklypiano, and on my Facebook if you go to facebook.com/Greg Spiro. Thanks, guys. Bye.